Hi, welcome to the ACES headquarters. I am here today with the legendary Tara VanDerveer. Tara, thank you for joining us today.
Nikki, it's my pleasure. It's really exciting to be here in this beautiful facility.
Okay, tell me, when you first walked in, what did you think?
I'm like, I need a job here. This place is awesome. The court, the offices, the locker rooms. What I love about it is it's so first class, just totally first class. And the champions that are working here deserve it, and it's great to see it.
Well, it's great to have champions on the court, and we'll talk a little bit about them. But I want to talk about the champions that we have in our front office, and starting with one of your very own former players, Jennifer Azzi, who's our Chief of Business Development Officer. You know, what has Jennifer's impact meant to the game of basketball?
Well, we go way back. Jennifer was in our first recruiting class at Stanford, and my assistant coach saw Jennifer playing and called me and said, Tara, I just saw a great guard. And I said, great, does she have grades? And she said, yes, she has grades. I said, great. And then Amy said, one problem, she's from Tennessee. I go, ooh, that's a problem. But you know, Jennifer was our first All-American. She led our team to a national championship. And her first year we were 500, and her senior year we won a national championship in Knoxville, Tennessee. And so we went over to Jennifer's house after the game, and winning the championship, and I was playing the drums with the band. And you know, her family invited us over, Jim and Donna Azzi, and it was just so full circle to come to a team, you know, come to California from Tennessee, and I know you're from Oak Ridge too.
Yes.
And I tried to recruit you, but wasn't as successful. But Jennifer was just, she's such a special person, and the Aces are really fortunate to have Jennifer.
Yeah, we definitely go a long way back, Jennifer and I, being from Oak Ridge. And I remember, you know, Jennifer when she signed to go to Stanford, and I thought, you know, maybe I should follow in her footsteps.
You should have.
I know, but there's another coach by the name of Pat Summitt that was right in our backyard, and it was such a great time for women's basketball. That 1990 national championship game being played in Knoxville, Tennessee, there were so many great coaches. You had Joe Champy from Auburn, Debbie Ryan with Virginia, and then Leon Barmore with La Tech. But, you know, talk about your relationship with some of those coaches.
You know, Nikki, the coaches in women's basketball, you know, we have gone through some great times, and sometimes it feels like you take, you know, 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. And I think right now is the best time in women's basketball. But back in the 90s, we had great players, and we had great teams, and we were in a different place, but the coaches were really friends. I could call Pat, and you know, we really got along so well. I'll just tell you a real quick Pat Summitt story. When we played one of our last games before she retired, she came out before the game, and we're playing there, and I thought, this is our time to beat them. You know, we're going to get them. And she came out, and the crowd was awesome. The place is packed, and I just said, Pat, look what you have done here. And she said to me, she goes, Tara, I love you. And I'm like, how can you want to be somebody that just tell you that? But you know, but that's the kind of relationship that we had. And Debbie Ryan was someone that I knew. You know, at Virginia, we were at basketball camp together. So we were you know, working at Kathy Rush basketball camp. So I'm so fortunate to have had the mentors and friends in women's basketball, and I hope that the coaches and even the players now really take advantage of the great relationships that they can have, the great friendships.
Yeah, and these friendships will last a lifetime. And you know, I know you and Jennifer still are in great communication with each other. You coached her on the 1996 Olympic team where you were the head coach.
Right.
And you know, it's being an Olympic year. We've got so many great players that have made a huge contribution to the game. And you've got a lot of them that have played and come through your program as well. We're big on alums. We love the fact that we invite them back for a trip here to Vegas to watch and connect with the current roster, the current team, the current players in this community. Mark Davis, thank you for seeing the importance of that alumni initiative. And you know, how important is it to stay connected with your alums?
Well, this is kind of what it's all about. You know, that when the ball stops bouncing, and you know, you're not playing anymore, that you're connected. And that's something that I really respect Mark and this whole organization, because from the outside, and I think based on what you're saying and what Jennifer has told me, is that everything that Mark does and everything part of the Aces is first class. And what player wouldn't want to play in a first-class organization like this? And then you better get in this gym and get shots up, and you don't want to let anybody down. So the relationships you have are on the court and then off the court are so important, and the fact that you're bringing people back, I think, is really special.
Well, we've had some of your alums who are so-called alums of the Aces organization, because if you played for Utah or the San Antonio Stars or the Aces, you're part of our family now, and we've had Jane Appel come back.
Now that's a great one.
Which
Jane,
is Jane, and she's doing so much great work with the league as well.
I love coaching Jane. Jane, when we played for the national championship game, and Jane played on a broken foot. She's an absolute warrior. And after the game, Jane she didn't take off her uniform. I said, Jane, why? She goes, I know I'll never put it back on again. And those are the kind of players you want, people that are so committed to your program, whether it's Stanford or whether it's the Aces. So we're after the same type of person.
What advice would you give someone that is aspiring either to play for Stanford and or play in the WBA and play at this elite level, who's striving to reach their greatness? What advice would you give them?
I think the measure of people is not necessarily the percentage they shoot or how many rebounds, but what kind of person they are, and that in the long run you're going to know, is this person a great teammate? And I really like to coach players that are great teammates, that are encouraging to other people, that are unselfish, that are happy for other people's success. If you're winning world championships, or if we're winning national championships, some days you're going to play really well, and some days I am. But we want to win together. I think the great teammates, the people that are resilient, people that are determined, positive, hardworking, those are the people I want to be around, and I think those are the kind of people you want to be around too.
You came up through a time where there wasn't a lot of opportunities for girls to play. I read where you were playing with the boys, and then when they would skip over you or say, hey, it's not your game, you went and bought the best basketball that you possibly could afford.
Well, some of it was, when I was growing up, this was before Title IX, which obviously Title IX has been a huge boom to women's sports. And Title IX, basically has mandated we're going to have teams for young girls. And at basketball camp, I tell the 8-year-olds in our basketball camp, there'll be 50 of them in a room, and I'll just say, when I was your age, there wasn't basketball for girls. I never played, I never played on a 7th grade team, or there were no basketball camps. There's not a freshman team or a JV team or travel teams. There are no scholarships. There's no pro teams. And they look at me like I have two heads. And then one little girl raises her hand and goes, why was it like this? And I don't even know how to answer the question. And so I said, well, can anyone else answer the question? And another little girl raises her hand. She goes, sexism, And so it's really a different time. And I'm living vicariously through these young women, and so many women my age, are watching and just wishing that could be us. And that's something that, I did have the best basketball. I read all the books in the library in the 9th grade about basketball.
Wait, with the best basketball though, you bought the best basketball.
So that they had to let me play. If they wanted to use my ball, I got to play.
Yes.
But you figure out a way to get on the court, and that was my way to get on the court. So, but now, look, a beautiful facility, and watching women play on television, the number of people that got up to 24 million watching the NCAA tournament, and obviously great shout out to Caitlin Clark, who has been just fabulous, but she's just shining more light on all the other great players, Asia Wilson, Kelsey Plum. We tried to guard Kelsey Plum, that was hopeless. Try to guard Asia Wilson, that was hopeless. I mean, you've got great players on your team here, and in the WNBA, it is the most competitive league, I think, in the world. And we're so excited that we're going to have a team in San Francisco. The Valkyries, we're excited about that, and maybe Toronto too. So It's just a great time to be a women's basketball fan.
Well, it's a great time to be a women's basketball fan, but you also are one of the greatest coaches. And I know we're not talking about, the 3 championships and being the winningest coach, but it's the memories and the impact and the journey of that you've been able to provide for so many of these young student athletes who played for you, but also for myself and those who have seen your program from afar. But I also want to talk about you getting into coaching, because I read where you initially was thinking about going to law school, and then you took a course, or you were in a class with Bobby Knight was teaching, and so that kind of stirred that coaching for you.
Well, because I couldn't play, I watched basketball all the time. So, but there weren't jobs for women. I watched practices, I watched the boys practice, I watched college practices, and I did take a coaching class at Indiana, but I majored in sociology. I planned to go to law school, but I got an A in Coach Knight's coaching class, and he said anyone takes my class can come and watch practice, and I watched every day. And I loved watching practice. But what happened was, this was again before Title IX, Title IX was just starting, and there were no jobs for women coaching. So I went to law school, and I was taking a year off from college. I needed a break, and I went home at Christmas, and my parents, oh great, Tara's home for Christmas. But in January, my dad's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. And he said, you're going to go help coach your sister's team. So I had a younger sister that was a senior in high school who never even practiced, but she was playing because her friends played. So my dad said, you're going to help coach them. And they had lost the night before 99-11. And I'm like, Dad, I'm not coaching that team. He said, yes, you are. So I did. And I just loved it. It was so much fun. And that's when coaching just started as a career for women. So I went to Ohio State as a graduate assistant. I helped coach. I had a JV team. I've coached 2 undefeated teams. One is the JV team at Ohio State, and the other was the Olympic team. So I fell into coaching backwards, but I've loved every minute of it. And, coaching players like you or like Jennifer or, our All-Americans that we've had, Jane Appel, it's a great job. I have to pinch myself. I've never thought of it as a job job. It's a passion.
Right. Well, we're proud of you, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come and spend time with us. And again, can't say enough about what you've meant to so many of us.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yes, and I will say this, because I don't know if people know this. One, you did recruit me, and I did not go to Stanford.
I recruited you twice.
I know you did, and then you recruited me twice for an assistant coaching job. But Stanford has always been dear to my heart.
Thank you.
And just again, thank you for joining us today.
Well, it is an absolute pleasure. I'm really excited for just the great work that people here are doing, the ACES program, the support of Mark Davis, all the people I've seen in this building are really motivated to take women's basketball to the next level. And I know you've got the challenge of trying to win the 3rd championship. So, good luck.
All right, thank you, Tara. We appreciate you being here.
Tara
VanDerveer, one of the best to ever coach the game of basketball.